Victoria Chen gripped the leather steering wheel of her Tesla as she drove through the familiar streets of Austin, Texas. 12 years had passed since she last set foot in this city. Back then, she was a broke college student with big dreams and empty pockets. Now at 34, she was the founder of Tech Vista Solutions, a company worth $300 million. Or at least it had been worth that much last week. The scandal had erupted like a wildfire. Her business partner, Jerome Walsh, had been cooking the books for years. Federal investigators were circling. Investors were demanding answers. Her board had voted to suspend her while they conducted an internal review. Victoria Chen, the woman Forbes, had called the golden mind of Silicon Valley, is falling from grace faster than anyone could have predicted. Her phone buzzed with another urgent message from her legal team. She ignored it. Right now, she needed to focus on the one thing that might save her reputation and her company. Her grandmother, Rose Chen, was celebrating her 90th birthday. Victoria had missed the last 8 family gatherings. This time, she could not afford another absence. The press would paint her as heartless if she skipped it during her scandal. A ghost from the past, the autumn sun hung low in the sky, casting golden light across the streets of East Austin. Victoria parked near the community center where the birthday celebration would take place. She stepped out, her designer heels clicking against the pavement. Everything about her screamed success, from her tailored navy suit to her diamond watch. She looked like she belonged in a boardroom, not at a family barbecue in a working-class neighborhood. As she walked toward the building, a scent stopped her cold. Grilled meat, fresh cilantro, lime, and something else. Something that transported her back 12 years in an instant. Her heart began to race without permission. The taco stand sat on the corner, modest and unassuming. A simple banner read Foster's Street Tacos. The line of customers stretched down the block. Victoria felt her feet moving toward it before her brain could catch up. This could not be possible. Nathan Foster had left for culinary school in New York. He was supposed to be running some famous restaurant by now. Not selling street tacos, but there he was. Nathan stood behind the grill, his movements fluid and confident. He had always moved like that, with an easy grace that made everything look effortless. His dark hair was longer now, touching his collar. A few silver threads caught the sunlight. His face had matured, the boyish softness replaced by strong lines and a shadow of stubble. He wore a simple black t-shirt and jeans, both worn from use but clean. His hands, those hands that had once held hers during late-night study sessions, now expertly assembled tacos with practiced precision. Victoria stood frozen. 20 feet away, partially hidden behind a group of waiting customers, her pulse hammered in her ears. This was Nathan, her Nathan. The man she had loved more than anything, the man she had abandoned when opportunity called her to California. The weight of choices. A little girl, maybe 7 years old, tugged on Nathan's shirt. He looked down and smiled, a smile so genuine it made Victoria's chest ache. He handed the girl a taco wrapped in foil, ruffling her hair gently. The girl's mother tried to pay, but Nathan waved her money away. Victoria watched as he exchanged a few quiet words with the woman, who nodded gratefully before walking away with her daughter. That was Nathan. Always giving. Always caring about people more than profit. Victoria had built an empire by doing the exact opposite. She had made hard choices, cut ties with anyone who slowed her down, and prioritized growth over everything else, including him. The memory came flooding back without warning. That last night in Austin, 12 years ago, they had been sitting in his tiny apartment, celebrating her acceptance into the accelerated MBA program at Stanford. It was her dream, the opportunity of a lifetime, but it meant leaving in 2 weeks. Nathan had been accepted to the Culinary Institute of America in New York, but his start date was 6 months away. She had asked him to come with her to California. To defer his enrollment? To wait. He had asked her to stay. To build something together in Austin first. To give them time. Neither had been willing to compromise. Pride, fear, and ambition had driven them apart. Victoria had boarded that plane to San Francisco alone, telling herself it was the right choice. Success would make up for the loneliness. Money would fill the empty spaces he left behind. She had been wrong. Face to face, say, customer moved away from the front of the line. And suddenly Nathan's eyes lifted. They found her immediately, as if some invisible thread still connected them across the distance and the years. His hands stilled mid-motion. A tomato slice fell from his fingers onto the cutting board. For a moment, the bustling street seemed to fall silent. Victoria could not move, could not breathe, could not do anything except stare into those warm brown eyes that had once looked at her like she was the only person in the world. Nathan recovered first. He wiped his hands on his apron slowly, deliberately, as if buying time to think. Then he did something that broke her heart. He smiled. Not a happy smile, not an angry smile. Just a sad, knowing smile that said he understood everything. All the choices, all the years, all the distance between who they had been and who they had become. He raised one hand in a small wave. Victoria felt tears prick her eyes. This was not how she had imagined their reunion during the countless nights she had wondered about him. In her fantasies, he was successful and bitter, or married and unavailable, or completely indifferent to her existence. She had never imagined this quiet dignity, this gentle acknowledgement of shared history. She lifted her hand to wave back, but her phone erupted with a loud ring. Her lawyer. She glanced at the screen, then back at Nathan. He had already returned to his work, assembling tacos with the same steady rhythm. The moment had passed. Victoria turned and walked toward the community center, each step feeling heavier than the last. Behind her, the smell of Nathan's cooking lingered in the air, a reminder of everything she had chosen to leave behind and everything that still haunted her in the quiet moments between meetings and deals and empty victories. The community center buzzed with the cheerful chaos of 3 generations gathered under one roof. Colorful paper lanterns hung from the ceiling, casting warm light over tables laden with homemade dishes. Children ran between adults, their laughter echoing off the walls. In the center of it all sat Rose Chen, tiny and elegant in a jade green dress, her eyes sparkling with joy as family members lined up to greet her. Victoria stood near the entrance, suddenly feeling like an outsider in her own family gathering. Her younger sister Monica spotted her first. The smile on Monica's face flickered with something complicated before settling into polite warmth. "Victoria, you actually came." Monica approached with her 2 young sons trailing behind her. "Grandmother will be so happy." The words carried no malice, but Victoria heard the subtext clearly. "You actually came this time. After missing 8 gatherings, after choosing board meetings over birthdays and conference calls over holidays." "I wouldn't miss it," Victoria said, the lie tasting bitter on her tongue. They both knew she had almost missed it. If not for the scandal, she would probably be in her San Francisco office right now, sending an expensive gift and a brief apology. Monica's eyes traveled over Victoria's designer outfit with an expression Victoria could not quite read. "You look successful." "Very Silicon Valley, thank you." Victoria paused. "Monica, I saw someone outside. Nathan Foster. He has a taco stand near here." Monica's expression shifted to something softer. "Oh, you saw Nathan?" "Yes, he's been here for about 9 years now. His stand is an institution around here. Everyone loves him." 9 years. The number hit Victoria like a physical blow. "I thought he went to culinary school in New York." "He did." Monica glanced toward where their grandmother was holding court. "But he came back after his first semester. His mother got sick, cancer. His father had already passed away when we were in college." "Do you remember?" Victoria did remember. Nathan's father had died of a heart attack during their sophomore year. Nathan had been devastated but had channeled his grief into his cooking, saying his father would have wanted him to pursue his dreams. "I didn't know about his mother," Victoria whispered. Monica's gaze turned pointed. "No, you wouldn't. You left that summer and never looked back." The truth emerges. Victoria spent the next hour performing the role of dutiful granddaughter, hugging relatives she barely remembered, smiling for photos, and making small talk about her company. No one mentioned the scandal. Either they had not heard, or they were too polite to bring it up. Grandmother Rose held her hand for a long moment, studying her face with those sharp eyes that missed nothing. "You look tired, little bird," Rose said in Mandarin, using her childhood nickname. Success is not enough to feed the soul. Before Victoria could respond, her Uncle Thomas appeared with plates of food. Everyone is asking about the birthday cake. Should we bring it out now? Rose nodded, releasing Victoria's hand. As the family gathered for the cake ceremony, Victoria slipped outside. Needing air and space to think, the evening had grown cooler. Street lamps cast pools of yellow light along the sidewalk. Victoria walked without purpose, her feet carrying her in a direction her mind refused to acknowledge until she found herself back at the taco stand. Nathan was packing up for the night. The line of customers had disappeared. He worked alone, wiping down surfaces and storing ingredients in neat containers. He moved with the same methodical care she remembered, treating even cleanup like it mattered. "We're closed," he said without looking up. Then he glanced toward her and froze. "Oh, Victoria, hi." The word came out smaller than she intended. "Can we talk?" Nathan set down his cleaning cloth. For a moment, she thought he might refuse. Instead, he gestured to a small folding chair beside the stand. "Have a seat." "I need to finish cleaning, but I can listen." Victoria sat, watching him work. The silence stretched between them, filled with 12 years of unspoken words. "Monica told me about your mother," she finally said. "I'm so sorry, Nathan. I had no idea." His hands paused in their work. "Why would you? You were in California building your empire. I was here watching my mother die." The words were not accusatory, just factual, which somehow made them hurt more. "You could have called me? Told me what was happening?" Nathan laughed, a sound without humor, and said, "What?" "Hey, Victoria, I know you're living your dream, but could you drop everything and come hold my hand? You made your choice. I made mine. That's not fair." "Fair." Nathan turned to face her fully, his eyes blazing with an emotion she could not name. "You want to talk about fair? I loved you, Victoria. I would have followed you anywhere. But you wouldn't even consider staying, wouldn't even try to find a compromise. Your career was more important than us, more important than everything." "You asked me to give up Stanford," Victoria shot back, old defensiveness rising. "You asked me to sacrifice my future? I asked you to wait 6 months. 6 months, Victoria. That's all. So we could start together, build something together. But you couldn't even give me that." The truth of his words cut deep. She had been so focused on seizing her opportunity, so afraid it might slip away, that she had not even considered alternatives. Stay for 6 months. Do the program part-time. Find a way to make both dreams work. But she had seen only 2 options: success or Nathan. And she had chosen success. The life she missed. "What happened after your mother got sick?" Victoria asked quietly. Nathan's anger seemed to deflate. He returned to his cleaning, but his movements were slower now, heavier. "I came home for what I thought would be a weekend. Stage 4, pancreatic cancer. The doctors gave her 6 months. She lasted 8. I'm sorry. She used up all her savings on my culinary school tuition. First semester paid in full. She was so proud when I got in." His voice cracked slightly. "I couldn't go back. Couldn't leave her alone to die while I learned to make fancy sauces in New York. So I came home and started cooking tacos on the street to pay for her medical bills." Victoria felt tears sliding down her cheeks. "You gave up your dream." "No." Nathan looked at her then, really looked at her, and his expression was not bitter or angry. It was peaceful. "I thought I was giving up my dream. But something funny happened. I fell in love with this." He gestured to his simple taco stand. "With feeding people, real people, not critics or celebrities. Just families who work hard and deserve a good meal at a fair price." "The people in line today," Victoria said, remembering that little girl. "You didn't charge her mother, Carmen? She works 3 jobs to support her kids. Lost her husband to COVID 2 years ago." Nathan shrugged. "Some days, a free taco is the only break a person gets. That matters more than money." Victoria thought about her company, Tech Vista Solutions. When was the last time she had thought about whether her work actually helped anyone? Her software optimized corporate efficiency. It made rich companies richer. It had made her rich. But had it ever given a struggling single mother a moment of kindness? "You're happy," she said, realizing it with a shock. "You're actually happy." Nathan considered this. "Most days, yes. I have a small apartment above a bookstore. I eat well. I have friends in the neighborhood. Mrs. Rodriguez down the street teaches me Spanish. Her grandson helps me with my social media. It's a good life. But what about the restaurants? The Michelin stars? Everything you wanted?" "What I wanted," Nathan said slowly, "was to cook food that made people happy. Turns out I can do that just fine from a street corner." He paused. "What about you, Victoria? Did you get everything you wanted?" Victoria opened her mouth to say yes, to defend her choices, to list her achievements. But sitting there in the lamplight, facing the man she had once loved, the truth spilled out. "My business partner has been embezzling funds for 3 years. Federal investigators are involved. My board suspended me. The press is circling like sharks. Half my investors want to pull out. I might lose everything I built." Nathan's expression softened. "I'm sorry, are you?" The question came out more challenging than she meant it. "You must think I deserve it. Karma for abandoning you. I don't think that." Nathan sat down on another folding chair facing her. "I think you worked hard for what you built. I think you're brilliant and driven and talented. I also think you've been running so fast for so long that you forgot to ask yourself where you were running to." His words struck something deep inside her chest. Her phone buzzed in her purse. She ignored it. "I have a fiancé," she said suddenly. "Brandon Mitchell. He's a venture capitalist. Very successful. Very connected. We've been engaged for 8 months. Congratulations. Hasn't called me once since the scandal broke. Not to ask if I'm okay. Not to offer support. Just a text saying his lawyers advised him to maintain distance until things blow over." Nathan's jaw tightened. "That's not love, Victoria." "No," she agreed quietly. "It's not." They sat in silence as the night deepened around them. Somewhere nearby, a dog barked. A car passed, its headlights briefly illuminating them before fading. Victoria felt exhausted, not from travel, but from years of holding herself together, of pretending everything she had sacrificed had been worth it. "I think about you sometimes," Nathan said softly. "Wonder what would have happened if we'd found a way to make it work. If I'd been braver, if you'd been more patient, if we'd loved each other more than we loved our fears." "I loved you," Victoria whispered. "I loved you so much it terrified me. That's why I ran. I was afraid if I stayed, I'd lose myself. I'd become someone small and trapped." Nathan reached across the space between them and took her hand. His palm was warm and calloused from work. "And did you find yourself in California? Or did you just build a different kind of trap?" Victoria had no answer. She sat there, holding the hand of the man she had left behind, and wondered if success had been worth the cost of everything else. Victoria woke in her hotel room to 17 missed calls and 43 unread messages. Sunlight streamed through the blinds, harsh and unforgiving. She had barely slept. Her mind replaying the conversation with Nathan over and over like a song she could not stop hearing. The first message was from her lawyer. "Victoria, we need to talk immediately. New developments?" The second was from Brandon. "Call me when you have a moment. Not are you okay? Or I'm worried about you. Just call me when you have a moment," as if she were a business associate instead of the woman he had proposed to on a yacht in the Mediterranean, Victoria, showered and dressed in jeans and a simple sweater, abandoning her usual armor of designer clothing. When she looked in the mirror, she barely recognized herself. Without the perfect makeup and tailored suits, she looked younger, more vulnerable, more like the girl Nathan had known 12 years ago. Her phone rang. Brandon's name flashed on the screen. She answered. "Victoria, thank God. I've been trying to reach you." His voice carried that smooth confidence that had once impressed her, but now sounded hollow. "Listen, my legal team has been reviewing the situation with Tech Vista. We need to talk about our engagement. What about it?" Victoria sat down on the edge of the hotel bed, already knowing where this conversation was heading. The optics are problematic. My investors are concerned about association with the scandal. My PR team suggests we postpone the wedding indefinitely. Perhaps release a statement about taking time to focus on our respective careers. You want to break up with me because my company's in trouble? Don't be dramatic! I'm suggesting we press pause until things stabilize. If you manage to salvage Tech Vista, wonderful. If not, well, we can reassess at that point. Victoria laughed, a sound bitter and sharp. Reassess. Like I'm a stock you're considering trading. Victoria, be reasonable. This is business. No, Brandon? This is a relationship. Or it was supposed to be. She took a deep breath. You know what? You're right. We should end this. Not pause it. End it completely. Silence on the other end. Then you're emotional right now. The stress is affecting your judgment. For the first time in years, my judgment is perfectly clear. Victoria twisted the engagement ring off her finger. Looking at the enormous diamond that had once seemed like proof of her success, now it just looked cold. I'll have your ring couriered back to you. Victoria, don't make decisions you'll regret. The only thing I regret is wasting 8 months on someone who never really saw me as a person. Goodbye, Brandon. She ended the call before he could respond. The ring sat in her palm, heavy and meaningless. She placed it on the nightstand and felt lighter immediately. The investigators report Victoria's lawyer, Patricia Huang, arrived at the hotel an hour later with a briefcase full of documents and an expression that promised bad news. Tell me everything, Victoria said. Pouring them both coffee from the room service tray, Patricia spread papers across the desk. Jerome Walsh was more systematic than we initially thought. He created shell companies, fake vendors, phantom employees. The embezzlement totals nearly $40 million over 3 years. Victoria felt the blood drain from her face. 40 million. The good news is that you're not implicated. The investigation shows clearly that you had no knowledge of his activities. You're a victim here, not a perpetrator. And the bad news? The company is hemorrhaging money. 3 major clients have pulled their contracts. Your stock price has dropped 60%. The board wants to sell to Quantum Industries. They're offering a buyout that would cover debts and give shareholders something. But you'd lose control completely. Victoria stared at the financial reports, watching her empire crumble into numbers on a page. 10 years of work, 10 years of sacrifices. All of it dissolving like sugar in water. What if I don't sell? She asked quietly. Patricia looked at her with sympathy. Then you fight. It'll take years to rebuild trust. You'll need to invest your personal fortune to keep the company afloat. Even then, there's no guarantee of success. Most experts would say selling is the smart move, not the smart move. Victoria thought about Nathan, about his choice to give up culinary school to care for his mother, about his taco stand and his happiness. Patricia, what if the smart move isn't always the right move? Her lawyer raised an eyebrow. Are you asking me as your attorney or as your friend? Friend. Patricia closed her briefcase and sat back. As your friend, I'd say you've spent 10 years building something that clearly isn't making you happy. I've watched you work 80-hour weeks, skip vacations, and sacrifice every personal relationship for Tech Vista. And for what? So Jerome could steal from you while your fiancé only cares about you when you're successful? The words hurt because they were true. There's a clause in the buyout offer, Patricia continued. Quantum wants your expertise as a consultant for 2 years. Generous salary, minimal hours. It would give you financial security while you figure out what you actually want. Victoria picked up the contract, scanning the terms. 2 years. Enough time to breathe, to think, to rediscover who she was beneath the CEO title. She said the community kitchen Victoria spent the afternoon walking through her old neighborhood, remembering the girl she used to be. The coffee shop where she and Nathan had studied for finals was now a yoga studio. The cheap Chinese restaurant where they celebrated small victories had been replaced by a trendy poke bowl place. Everything had changed. Yet somehow the essence of the neighborhood remained the same. Her feet carried her back to Nathan's taco stand. It was mid-afternoon, the lunch rush over, and he was prepping ingredients for the evening crowd. He looked up as she approached, surprise, and something else flickering across his face. "Twice in 24 hours, he said. "Should I be worried?" "I broke up with Brandon this morning." Nathan's hand stilled. "Are you okay?" "I'm better than okay. I'm finally seeing things clearly." Victoria stepped closer to the stand. "Can I ask you something? Why tacos? Of all the things you could cook, why tacos?" Nathan smiled, that genuine smile that made her heart ache. "My mom's family was from Mexico. Her grandmother taught her to make tortillas by hand, and she taught me. After she died, I wanted to honor that. Keep that connection alive. Tacos aren't fancy, but they're honest. Good ingredients. Simple preparation, made with love. That's all they need to be, made with love," Victoria repeated softly. "Your secret ingredient is the only ingredient that really matters." He paused, studying her face. "What happened, Victoria? You look different today. I might lose my company. My fiancés broke up with me because of it. And somehow, standing here talking to you, I feel more at peace than I have in years." Nathan set down his knife and came around the stand. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet. The smart move would be to sell Tech Vista, take the consultant position, and rebuild my reputation. But I keep thinking about what you said last night. About running so fast I forgot where I was running to. And where do you want to run now?" Victoria looked at him, really looked at him. At the gray threads in his hair and the laugh lines around his eyes. At the simple life he had built from loss and sacrifice. At the man who had chosen love and community over ambition and acclaim. "I want to stop running," she whispered. Nathan reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, he cupped her face gently in his hands. "You know I never stopped loving you, right? I tried. God knows I tried. But every woman I dated I compared to you. Every relationship ended because she wasn't you." Tears spilled down Victoria's cheeks. "I love you too. I never stopped. I just convinced myself that success was more important than love. That building an empire mattered more than building a life. And now I want to build something real. Something that matters. Something with you." Nathan kissed her then, soft and sweet and full of 12 years of longing. Victoria melted into him, feeling pieces of herself that had been locked away for so long finally click back into place. This was home. Not San Francisco, with its glittering skyline. Not the boardrooms and galas and magazine covers. This. Him. The taste of possibility and second chances. 6. Months later, the spring air smelled of fresh herbs and possibility. Victoria stood in the kitchen of Rose's place, the community kitchen and restaurant she and Nathan had opened 3 months ago. The space occupied the ground floor of an old building in East Austin, with exposed brick walls, mismatched furniture, and windows that let in floods of natural light. They served breakfast and lunch at affordable prices. Using Nathan's street taco recipes alongside new dishes, Victoria created by blending his traditional techniques with her grandmother's Chinese cooking. Twice a week they offered free meals to anyone who needed them, no questions asked. It was not fancy. There were no white tablecloths or sommelier-curated wine lists. But every morning, a line formed outside the door before they opened. Families, students, construction workers, and business people all gathered at their tables. Drawn by food made with honest ingredients and genuine care, Victoria had sold Tech Vista to Quantum Industries, taking the consultant position but negotiating down to 10 hours a week. The rest of her time belonged to Rose's place, to Nathan, and to rediscovering the joy of cooking without pressure or pretension. Her grandmother visited every Sunday, holding court at the corner table and critiquing their dumplings with loving precision. Monica brought her sons, who called Nathan Uncle Nate, and helped fold napkins for tips. Even Patricia stopped by regularly, having become addicted to their breakfast burritos. Nathan came up behind Victoria now, wrapping his arms around her waist as she stirred a pot of pozole. "Table 7 wants to know if we have the recipe for your grandmother's scallion pancakes." "Tell them it's a family secret," Victoria said, leaning back against him. "But if they come back next week, I'll teach them how to make it." "You're going to give away all our secrets," Nathan teased, kissing her neck. "Good. That's the point." Victoria turned in his arms, looking up at him. Food should bring people together, not keep them apart by price or exclusivity. Nathan's expression grew serious. Do you miss it? The old life? The power and prestige? Victoria thought about her corner office overlooking San Francisco Bay. The private jet flights to investor meetings, the magazine covers and awards ceremonies. She thought about the loneliness that had followed her like a shadow through all of it. Not even a little bit, she said honestly. This is what success actually looks like. Being with you. Feeding people who need it. Going to bed exhausted but fulfilled. Waking up excited about the day instead of dreading it, even when we barely break even most months. Especially then. Money was never the prize, Nathan. Love was. Community was. Purpose was. I just forgot that for a while. Nathan smiled and pulled a small box from his pocket. Speaking of love, Victoria's breath caught as he opened it, revealing a simple silver band with a small, ethically sourced sapphire. Nothing like the ostentatious diamond Brandon had given her. This ring was honest and beautiful, just like the life they were building together. Victoria Chen, 12 years ago we both chose our dreams over each other. We were young and scared and thought success meant sacrifice. But I don't want to sacrifice anymore. I want to build a life with you. A real life, with all its mess and beauty and ordinary magic. Will you marry me? Victoria didn't hesitate. Yes, 1,000 times yes. As Nathan slipped the ring onto her finger, the kitchen door burst open, and Carmen rushed in with her daughter Sophia. Sorry to interrupt, Carmen said, breathless. But Sophia got her report card today. All A's we wanted you to see. Nathan and Victoria broke apart, both beaming. Sophia proudly displayed her report card. And Victoria grabbed a fresh pan dulce from the cooling rack, handing it to the little girl. This calls for a celebration, Victoria said. Pan dulce on the house. Sophia's eyes went wide with delight. Carmen tried to protest, but Victoria waved her off. Your family. As Carmen and Sophia sat at a nearby table, Victoria looked around the kitchen. At Nathan preparing his mother's recipes with love and skill. At the community they had built one meal at a time. At the ring on her finger that represented not wealth or status, but commitment and partnership. This was what she had been searching for in those Silicon Valley boardrooms and venture capital meetings. Not success measured in stock prices and profit margins, but success measured in smiles and full bellies and connections that mattered. Her phone buzzed with an email. From a food blogger requesting an interview. Rose's Place had been getting attention lately. Not from fine dining critics, but from people who appreciated their mission and their food. Victoria archived the email without responding. They didn't need publicity or validation from strangers. They had everything that mattered right here. Hey, Nathan said softly, pulling her attention back to him. You okay? You have that faraway look? Victoria smiled, standing on her toes to kiss him. I'm better than okay. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Outside, the Austin sun climbed higher in the sky, warming the street where 12 years ago, Victoria had walked away from love in pursuit of ambition. Now she had found her way back, not to the past, but to something new, something better. Something built on the foundation of hard lessons learned and second chances embraced. The lunch rush would start soon. There were vegetables to chop and tortillas to press and people to feed. But first, Victoria stood in the kitchen with the man she loved, savoring this perfect moment of peace and purpose. She had been a millionaire once, powerful and praised in the business world. Now she was just Victoria, owner of a small community kitchen, engaged to a former taco vendor, and happier than she had ever imagined possible. Sometimes the greatest success comes not from climbing higher, but from finding the courage to come back down to earth. To trade corner offices for community tables, to choose love over luxury, to remember that the best things in life are not bought with money, but built with heart. And as the first lunch customers began arriving, their faces lighting up at the smells coming from Rose's Place, Victoria knew with absolute certainty that she had finally, truly made it not to the top of corporate ladder, but home.